Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the Lost and Not Found podcast. Let me just set some things up first, but hope everyone is doing well on this fine Thursday afternoon. Audio sounds good. Alrighty, so let's just dive on into this topic. So, hi everyone, I'm your host Rudler, and welcome to the Lost and Not Found podcast, a beacon of hope for those feeling adrift in the sea of life. Our mission is to uplift, inspire, and remind you that tough times are just temporary. Join us as we navigate through these storms together, finding direction, purpose in the chaos. Remember, you may be lost, but you're not alone. Disclaimer, please note that the content shared on the Lost and Not Found podcast is based solely on my personal opinions and experiences. I'm not a certified professional or expert in the topics discussed. The podcast is intended to share my personal insights and should not be considered professional advice. If you require expert assistance or advice, I strongly recommend seeking help from a qualified professional in the relevant field. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, this is a journey we're on together. So welcome everybody. Glad to have you aboard. So today's episode 8, and the topic of discussion I chose is understanding and overcoming laziness. Wow. I relate to this heavily, if you can't tell. But introduction. So why I chose this topic. So exploring the root causes of laziness can offer valuable insights into overcoming this common struggle and unlocking our full potential. Laziness is a pervasive challenge that many of us grapple with, yet its origins and implications are often misunderstood. Through personal reflection and research, I aim to shed light on why we experience laziness and practical strategies for breaking free from its grip. This is something I deal with more than I would like to admit, but it's honestly incorporated heavily into my life. And that's why I really want to try and research more to find how we can overcome this laziness and, why do I feel lazy so much? So understand the nature of laziness. So definition. Laziness is characterized by reluctance or resistance to exert effort towards goals or tasks, leading to procrastination and underachievement. It's essential to distinguish between laziness and genuine fatigue or burnout. Very, very important, as the underlying causes and remedies may differ. So I think finding out what actually is happening. Are you actually being lazy, or is it like, okay, you're just out of energy or burnt out? Classifying that is very important because it would have different remedies to both, as stated. They're different. They may feel similar, but they're very different. So laziness can stem from a variety of factors, including fear of failure, lack of motivation, perfectionism, feeling overwhelmed, or a lack of clear goals. I think that's why I feel lazy a lot, because at times I feel like I'm not moving in any direction because I haven't set any goal to achieve towards, right? So a lot of my work I do will feel like it's going nowhere. So if the work feels like it's going nowhere, then I'm more inclined to give up or not want to pursue that area because it feels unproductive. And then also with fear of failure, you're so scared to take the leap of faith since you know what comes with all these things. So you're like, I don't think it's worth it. Let's just not try at all because that's easier. It's easier to not try than to put your effort towards something and fail completely. And then lack of motivation, once again, it's like more purpose. If you're doing something and you have no purpose or intention for it, you're going to lack motivation. You're going to be like, why am I doing this? It's going to feel like chores. It's going to feel like work. And that's going to lead to you not wanting to do it. So these are all definitely a variety of factors where laziness can stem from. And then exploring the root causes of laziness, there's the fear of failure. Okay, so starting with fear of failure, the prospect of falling short of expectations or experiencing judgment can lead to avoidance behaviors and procrastination. So this is, so having the idea that, okay, why even try, right? The mentality of why even try, because it's not going to work anyways, right? It's like, it's going to just burn to the ground. It's not going to work out. Why even try? That can lead to not even trying. And then that's quote unquote, not so much well, yeah, it falls under the category of laziness, but not putting any effort towards it because you're so scared to fail. And then the second one would be lack of motivation. When tasks lack intrinsic meaning or relevance, it's natural to struggle with finding the drive to tackle them. Exactly, because a lot of these things take a lot of effort, regardless of what you want to do, whether you have like big dreams, aspirations, or whatever. Everything will take a tremendous amount of work. So if the journey is going to be difficult, and on top of that, you lack any motivation on why, or like have no reasoning on why you're on that journey, you're going to have a really hard time saying, why am I investing all this energy into this to justify that? So you're like, I don't see why I'm doing this. So like, why invest any more energy into that? So you'll lack motivation from that, and then you'll not continue on that path. And perfectionism. So actually, this is the other end. I guess the pursuit of flawlessness can paralyze progress and lead to procrastination as we fear making mistakes or falling short of high standards. So this is the other end of failure, where it's not that you're not willing to try anything, is that you're trying to do everything so perfect that you end up doing nothing because everything has mistakes in it. Everything seems like it's bad, you know? You're so scared that your work or whatever you're working towards is not going to be good enough, so you don't do it at all. So it's not that you have a fear of missing out or like a fear of failing. You have a fear of not doing it exactly to the T. So it's not so much the idea that, oh, just trying and failing. It's more like trying and it's not absolutely perfect. And that you did fail. So if you do fail, that means I'm not good enough. And then that means, why did I put time into this? And then I shouldn't do this anymore. Because clearly what I'm doing is terrible. Yada, yada, yada. Because you're trying to get that perfect answer or perfect result, which is not always the case. And then feeling overwhelmed, feeling inundated by a multitude of tasks or responsibilities can trigger feelings of paralysis and apathy. So if you feel very overwhelmed, you get discouraged too. Excuse me. When you get overwhelmed, there's too many things running through your mind, and then you don't know how to section off different areas, and then your head is spinning, and then before you know it, you're burnt out, you're tired, but you haven't completed anything. But like in your head, you're like trying to organize and get everything together, but it's just too much. And then it just leads to, boom, you're just burning out and you end up not doing anything, but you're still exhausted. And then the last one would be lack of clear goals. This is very important too. This is what I struggle with a lot as well. Like without a clear sense of purpose or direction, it's easy to succumb to indecision and laziness. So if you, once again, it comes to that idea of, if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, it's like all the energy you're putting towards that path, everything you're putting towards that area, it seems like it's for no reason. And then like you start to realize, like, why am I doing this stuff? Because it sucks. The stuff you're doing is hard work. It takes a lot of energy, and it takes a lot of your time and sanity. And then you're starting to realize at the end of this, what am I even doing this for? And if you have no idea what you're doing it for, then you're like, why am I doing this at all? You know? So having a lack of clear goals can really be a huge player in having people quit, because you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. So then we're going to go into strategies for overcoming laziness. So here we go. So identify underlying barriers. Reflect on the root causes of your laziness and explore strategies for addressing them. So you want to see, where is your laziness stemming from? You know, what is it being caused? To first identify where it's coming from. And then break tasks into smaller steps. This can be a step used when you feel overwhelmed. So you can overcome being overwhelmed by breaking tasks into manageable chunks, making them feel more attainable. Because once again, if you try to do everything all at once, it's too much. But it's like a puzzle piece, right? If you work on each puzzle individually at a time and hone in on just the one piece of the puzzle, over time, At the beginning, it will seem like it's all just jumbled up pile of mess. But over time, if you just focus one piece at a time, you'll be building slowly, 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 and eventually the whole picture will reveal itself. And then you have the task completed and you can see everything clearly now. Even though at the beginning it didn't seem clear, by breaking everything into smaller, achievable tasks can lead to you finishing that puzzle eventually. So set specific, achievable goals as well. This is very, very important for me. So you want to clarify your objectives and create a roadmap for success, ensuring that goals are realistic and measurable. So you want to, once again, that goes into setting smaller steps. You want to set achievable goals, very important. And you want to set specific goals, because if you're working mindlessly, like, oh, I have to get this done. Like, you're like, I have to get this done, this done, this done. But what are you referring to? Like, what do you need to get done? If you're not clear with yourself, if you're not setting specific things for yourself to do, then you will just be like everywhere, scattered. Because if it's so open-ended, you're gonna be filling your time with a bunch of random stuff. So you have to be disciplined and set specific and also achievable goals for you to lay your eyes on. And the next would be cultivating intrinsic motivation. So connect tasks to your values, passions, and long-term aspirations to ignite enthusiasm and commitment. So that's all it goes with the why you're doing the things you're doing. Be like, oh, let's say, I don't know. The best example is like, oh, let's say you want to be a movie star, right? It's like having that vision of why you're doing that, the values, the passion, and like, oh, in the end, if I do all this, it gives me a chance to maybe become a movie star, or maybe doing this art piece. In a couple years, I'll be able to finish the art piece. It'll help you get to where you want to go. So having that intrinsic motivation can definitely help. And then challenge perfectionism. So you need to embrace imperfection as part of the learning process and prioritize progress over perfection. That is very, very vital. I need to take that advice because I think definitely I'm only speaking from my experience because I can't speak for anybody else's. But for mine, it's like when you're doing YouTube and stuff, you want to do everything perfect because you see all the social media, everyone getting so many likes, so many views, everything. You're like, oh my, they're producing such bangers. They're getting so much, fame and attention. And their content's amazing. Everything looks great. It's so well edited, everything, right? But it's not to focus on that. Say, you know what? I'm on my own journey. And maybe my quality is not going to be there at the beginning. But if I stick with putting, let's say I invest a whole year into one video, right? Like you can spend all the time you want, which is great, but you also have to eventually start. The best way to get experience is to do it as well. Like you can read as many books as you want, but none of that knowledge will be put to use unless you're actively going out and putting that knowledge to use. Let's say you read a bunch of books on how to build a house, right? You could be the most efficient, most knowledgeable person on how to build houses, but if you're never actually going into the field, picking up wood, learning how to use a hammer, everything, you're not really gonna be the best at building houses. Kind of like YouTube. It's like you can practice however long you want to edit and pre-record a video, but you're eventually gonna have to release something. So starting off, I think prioritizing progress over perfection will definitely help lead you in your process and get things running. Obviously, you want to develop over time. If you constantly produce junk and then you constantly do that, that's not good either. That's pretty much like laziness in itself because you're not willing to improve or anything. But be willing to start off, face any criticism, face any of the bad things at the beginning, and then readjust and learn from that. And then establish routines and rituals. So create habits that support productivity and momentum. Incorporate breaks and self-care to prevent burnout. So you want to get into a rhythm. You want to also make sure you're going to have to get into habits because these, whatever you do, it will take a long time to get to where you probably want to get to. So you're going to have to create, positive pit stops. You got to refill the gas eventually, right? So you don't want to just run dry and then try and make it as far as you can and then burn out. You want to make it sustainable. So you keep driving forward and then you take a break for some gas and some lunch, and then you go back on the road type thing. And then seek accountability and support. Share your goals with others and enlist their support in holding you accountable for taking action. So having an account or a support system's vital, or it's good to have, because having people say, hey, you need to do this, you need to get back on it, like stop veering off path, you need to stay focused, because you can only do so much. But I feel like everyone can veer off path occasionally. We get lazy, we get off track, let's say. And having someone there to be like, hey, you're drifting off, you need to get back in lane, is always definitely a positive. And then practice self-compassion. So be kind to yourself when facing setbacks or challenges. Acknowledge that laziness is a common struggle and not a reflection of your worth. Exactly. You don't want to beat yourself down too. That's one of my issues too. It's like, oh man, I'm always lazy, man, I'm this, I'm that. But it's like it creates a very negative and toxic mentality for myself. It's to acknowledge and say laziness is a common thing. It's not like something out of the ordinary. It's not like, oh, it's like you're feeding into it. It's everyone feels lazy at times. It's absolutely understandable. And it's not to be like, oh, I'm lazy, I've been lazy my whole life, and make it your entire identity. It's like, no, maybe something's happened or whatever it was, it led to whatever it is, but let's move forward and see how we can get better. So embracing action and agency. So recognize that taking proactive steps is key to breaking the cycles of laziness and reclaiming your sense of agency. Embrace discomfort as a natural part of growth and progress, reframing challenges as opportunities for learning and development. Trust in your ability to overcome laziness and pursue your goals with determination and resilience. Because at the end of the day, we all have it in ourselves, We can get past this. I truly believe that. I truly believe that this is something that we can all get through, right? It's something we all feel, and it's something that's not out of the ordinary, and something that okay, sorry, I thought my thing disconnected. My connection's wonky right now. Wait, is my connection fine? Okay, anyways though. Anyway, so yeah, it's to not beat ourselves down from that at the end of this. And then so personal reflection. I'll end this with a personal reflection. So once again, this is towards my YouTube channel. That's the best examples I like to provide and give, and say like my struggles with having the channel. I've been lazy a lot. I'm still lazy now. Because like, I have to get the character skins going. I have to get the different games, different themes, everything. It get overwhelming. But taking my advice as segmenting things and setting achievable goals, I've been implementing it slowly but surely, and it seems to have helped a lot. And then that idea of that it's okay. It's a regular experience. This is what people go through sometimes. And that if we make it so we have achievable goals, if we have better mindset, and show ourselves some more compassion, then I think we can get through it. Alrighty then. So here we go. We are concluding the podcast. So as we conclude this episode of the Lost and Not Found podcast, we've explored the complex nature of laziness and practical strategies for overcoming this common obstacle to productivity and personal growth. While laziness may seem daunting, we've learned that understanding its root causes and implementing proactive strategies can empower us to break free from laziness and unlock our full potential. By identifying underlying barriers, setting clear goals, and cultivating intrinsic motivation, we can transcend the grip of laziness and move towards a more fulfilling and purposeful life. Thank you for joining us on this journey of understanding and overcoming laziness. Remember that you have the power to overcome laziness and pursue your goals with determination and resilience. Until next time, take care, stay proactive, and embrace the journey of self-discovery and growth. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Lost and Not Found podcast episode 8, and I hope to see y'all next time. Bye-bye now.